Welcome back to the Laughing My Age Off podcast. So before we get into today's juicy episode, I want to let you know that I have 3 announcements for you, okay? Very important ones. Number 1 is a gift, okay? So if you've been following this podcast along the journey with me, we're coming up to almost the 50th episode. I wanted to give you all a gift because what we've learned throughout this experience and what I've found, there is a reoccurring theme. And you know what that is? It's too much cortisol in the body is really one of the main contributors of aging us faster. Okay. So I was thinking, what can we do? All right. One simple thing. And this is a gift from me to you. And you can find this gift at the bottom of our show notes, wherever you're listening to this podcast, right? Whether it's on YouTube or, Spotify or whatever. It's going to be down there for you to be able to download. All right. So it's 15 songs that are driven to lower your cortisol. So you can listen to this any time of day, particularly when you're feeling stressed. All right. There's a mix of slow, fast songs. All right. So depending on your mood, you can fast forward through whichever song you want to listen to. Okay. And some of these are some of my favorite. And actually, I've had some of these songs in our Pilates classes. So that is there for you. So that's number 1. You can grab that immediately after listening to this. Number 2. So the time that I'm recording this, all right, is the month of June. And this is hopefully enough time for you. If you live in Illinois, in the Naperville area, or just close to the area in Naperville, we are going to have an in-person pop-up Hot Pilates class. All right. So that is going to be on July 9th, 2025. All right. July 9th. So that is a Wednesday evening, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Okay. I will be there live in person. So make sure you grab a spot, and you can grab a spot if you go to hotyoga.naperville.com. All right. This will also be in the show notes. And, I encourage you to reserve your spot in advance. All right. So that's about a $25 ticket. All the information is there. Again, there's a link below. And number 3, stay tuned to the end of this podcast episode because we are going to be opening up a group, all right, a fasting group if you're interested, because some of the results that we're going to be talking about here, if those speak to you, then we're going to open up this free group in a few months. So you have some time. So that is all for the announcements. Let's get on with our show.
Embark on a journey to defy time with LMAO, Laughing My Age Off podcast. I'm your host, Erica Kelly, and I started this show because, like you, I'm curious about the secrets to staying youthful as the years go by. Join me as we discover the secrets to slowing down the aging process, exploring expert insights, cutting-edge research, and personal experiences that uncover the art of aging gracefully. It's time to laugh, learn, and embrace a life full of vitality together.
In today's episode, we are going to be talking about my experience about Prolon, all right? This is for the 4th time I've done this, all right? And so those of you who are new to this whole Prolon, it's the 5-day fast mimicking diet. I will link some of the other episodes we've shared about this, but the reason I'm sharing this is because it's different every single time, all right? And each time I find myself experiencing slightly different benefits, and slightly different challenges, okay? And you might be listening thinking, okay, this is probably another gimmicky thing. No, right? And I just want to take a step back and let you know where this whole Prolong thing came from, okay? This came from just having this podcast in the universe. And so if you believe in synchronicities, and if you are listening to this podcast, I don't think it's an accident. I really don't. And that's how Prolong entered into my life. At first, I'm going to let you know, I was a little skeptical. I was just like, okay, is this another trendy fad thing? And that's why some of those other episodes are super important to listen to, because we had Dr. Anton on the podcast, and he goes into all the things that really turned my perspective about this around. And it wasn't until I did it for the first time where I became a believer, right? So those of you who are interested in the prolonged fast mimicking diet, what it is. What is it, right? What is it? It is a 5-day fast. It's essentially where, your body is taking in food, but it's specific food. There's 5 boxes that you take, one for each day. All right. And best way I can describe it is like when you're on Prolong, you're getting food, right? But your food sensing pathways are on airplane mode, right? So these particular foods are going to help get you some of the benefits we're going to shed some light on today, okay? Also, if you've ever heard of Walter Longo, he is like the longevity anti-aging expert. Check him out, all right? This is all based on science and research. All right, now that I got that out of the way, let's go back to the 4th time, all right? So some things here, it wasn't just about what I gave up during the 5 days. It was also about what I gained, all right? And I didn't gain any weight, all right? We'll talk about some of the weight loss here, although I don't do it for weight loss. There's many other reasons why I do it. But just know, if you're someone that's listening and is like, I want that summer glow up, keep listening, okay? Because this fast mimicking diet is guaranteed 5 pounds. And we can say that. We can say that claim, okay? I also gained mental clarity. That's my favorite part of the fast. And, I came face to face with, many times where I felt like I was going to break. Yes. I'm strong, but this 4th time hit a little bit differently. And of course, I don't have a huge caffeine habit, but if you drink coffee and sometimes you get that afternoon slump, you're going to experience some things during this fast. And I'm going to talk to you about it. All right. So let's get straight into the juicy stuff. For those of you who are like, okay, well, how much weight did you lose? Many people look at me and they're like, you don't really need to do this for weight loss. I know. I don't do it for weight loss. Like I said in the beginning here, I do it for reducing my age from a cellular level, because aging really comes down to your cells, right? Who cares about the outer? Although we do pay attention to the outer, right? I want to live longer from the inside, because for me, what really triggered me to want to do this for the 4th time, because what is recommended is you do this once every quarter, okay, after you've done it 3 times in a row, 30 days consecutively. So I already did the 3 in a row, month after month. And so this 4th one, I was like, you know what? I'm 44. And what's hitting me differently during this time in my life is energy. And I can feel it. I can feel my hormones shifting, and I don't like it. We had an episode about napping. I was napping a lot, okay? And I just was getting literally tired of it. I was like, I have a lot of things I want to accomplish, by the weekend, I was just like gone. So if this sounds like something that you're experiencing, just know you're not alone. And if you're a female, that's one of the symptoms of perimenopause, okay? So that is what really drove me to want to do this for another time. And of course, I love getting the cortisol, women, if you're listening, that cortisol fat that likes to just start to go toward the belly area. Yes, the belly area, especially, I call it the pooch area. All right, that little pooch just wants to just put everything down there, okay? So this helps with that. So we're going to talk about really pounds. How many pounds do you lose on this? 5 pounds guaranteed. All right. How much did I lose? I lost approximately 6.2 pounds. Okay. I weighed myself the night before, and then the last day. You want to make sure you cycle, to the 6th day, in the morning. I stepped off the scale and I saw that 6.2 pounds were gone. And during the process, I would say between days 4 and into 5, the tightness in my belly, I've got a bodysuit on now, but I was sharing this on Instagram. And if you don't follow me yet, I'm at Fit and Pretty Life. So that's FITN Pretty Life. And I share a lot of stories about this, especially when I'm going through it, because this can be a little intimidating. I didn't have that kind of background. I just kind of went all in. So, I share a lot of the things during my journey. And by the 4th and 5th day, I was sharing my skin and my lower belly area. And I just could not get over how tight and how toned the lower pooch area was getting. And there's nothing else like it. You could, that's another thing. I have some people that just say, oh, I'll do a fast on my own. Sure, you can do it. I think doing things on your own is great. However, I would not waste my time because the food in here has been, monitored with clinical trials and tested for years so that your food sensing pathways don't turn on. So if you don't have the exact amount of food, calories, that comes with soups, crackers essentially, and a breakfast bar. Oh, and olives. That's essentially what you're eating within these 5 boxes, okay? So I know some other people say, well, I'll just do a water fast for 5 days. Sure, you can do that. I would never be able to do that. I need food. I know it doesn't look like I eat a lot of food, but I love food. And the thing with the Prolong is that you maintain your muscle, okay? Because you are taking this liquid throughout the day. It's called the L drink, and it helps to keep your muscle. I don't know all the science behind that, but I know that's what they use so that, you're not losing it. And you get really fatigued when you're on a water fast. I've never known anybody do a 5-day water fast, but you still could get the benefits, but you're going to lose muscle. All right. So, I lost 6.2 pounds. What else happened? Well, I stopped drinking caffeine. Okay. And I'm a coffee drinker. I love coffee. I just love that habitual thing in the morning. It's nice and warm. I also like teas. And during this fast, you do get a bunch of herbal teas, like a mint lemon, and then you get like a hibiscus one. I think like a spearmint one, if you like that. That one's good for like digestion. And so back to the caffeine habit. If you're someone that like needs caffeine, and if you don't have it and you really crash hard, this is a great way to rebalance your body, because you know what? You don't realize how much your body gets addicted to something until you're off of it, right? And I'm not going to lie, I had some caffeine headaches. So if you're ever going to do this, make sure you start on a Sunday. And if you have, some flexibility to take like a little nap, I had to take like a little lunch nap on Monday, like a 30-minute nap. You don't want to use any painkillers if you can help it, because that's not studied with the fast mimicking diet. So you don't want to go outside the box if you can help it. And so I did. I took a nap to basically help my headache go away. So by day 1, day 2. Yeah. By day 3 in the afternoon, I was okay. So just be aware of that. But what's great about it is that I felt like by day 6, right, when I was done, I was like, I don't need caffeine. I don't need caffeine. Although, I do love the taste of coffee. I do. I love the smell of it. It's not the same as decaf, right? Decaf hits a little different.
And now for a commercial break. Listen up. The Prolong Fast Mimicking Diet. This isn't just another diet. This is science. And what makes Prolong different from any other fast is that your body thinks it's fasting, but you still get to enjoy rich food. And unlike traditional fasting, you won't lose muscle, just the extra weight. Prolong is a 5-day plan based on 20 years and over $36 million in research and development. Experience 5 life-changing benefits, including effective weight loss, boosted energy, cellular rejuvenation, improved metabolic health, and better control over your cravings. All this while nourishing your body. And get excited because we have a 20% off promo code using Erica20. Just visit the link below and we'll see you soon.
All right, and let's talk about one of the best benefits of the fast mimicking diet. Okay, it's the mental clarity and that feeling. The way I can put it is that you become like reborn. I don't know how else to put it. And that may sound dramatic, but it's resetting everything in your body. It resets your metabolic rate. It also helps with your gut health. So if you're someone listening that has issues in, taking care of business, if you know what I mean, this will fix that. I'm telling you, without being TMI and being like too explicit here, it helps. You'll eat something, By day 6, when you actually get food back into your system that's outside of those 5 boxes, your body starts to be regulated like it's supposed to. Okay. And that's what I experienced. So just know that. And it lowers your IGF hormone. All right. So this stands for the insulin like growth factor 1. All right. It's a hormone similar in structure to your insulin, and it plays a key role in growth, cell repair, and aging. So why is this important? So during the fast, it actually lowers your IGF-1 because high levels of IGF-1 are known to be associated with certain types of cancers. It accelerates aging and chronic inflammation. All right. Again, IGF-1, if that is high, that is associated with cancer, accelerated aging, and chronic inflammation. Okay. So if you have genetics where cancer, is known in your family, this is something you should definitely explore. So getting back to the mental clarity and that reborn feeling, I say that because it does so many things, right? And so by day 4, my brain woke up. I seriously you wake up out of a coffin. You just spring up out of bed. When's the last time, I just want to pause here for a second, you actually sprung out of bed? Okay. For me, it's been a while. All right. And this is the 4th time with Prolon. This happened to be last time. And that enough is making me want to do this another quarter. All right. So I'll be doing this in another 3 months because I just love it. It just resets my hormones. It resets my energy and the clarity in your brain. If you're dealing with brain fog, okay, it was like clearing 43 tabs in my brain browser, right? We all know that feeling if you work in front of a computer, you have all these tabs open and it just closed them all out. It loads everything in my brain so much faster. I just feel like the synapses in my brain are just connecting and they're firing like they're supposed to. So think about where you are at, in terms of your brain clarity. Is this something you're struggling with? Okay, so let's get into when I wanted to quit. Okay, because I'm not perfect. I know it feels like, this is the 4th time. It should be just like riding a bike. No, it's not, especially when you take 3 months off. It feels like the first time. I'm not going to sing. Monica, if you're listening, my sister, she's singing. But it does. It feels like the first time every time. And so there are a few times. I would say about 3 times I wanted to quit. Between days 1 and 2 for sure, because I was starting to feel the break from caffeine, right? Those caffeine headaches. I mean, you kind of just want to just go grab a coffee and call it a day. Okay. And, around I want to say late day 2 to 3, because that's when you're going into autophagy, right? Autophagy, if you're not familiar with that, this is where you're getting your cells broken down and they're recycling all the bad ones in your body. This is the science where it comes in. But I'm going to tell you in easy terms here. You could look up autophagy on ChatGPT, wherever you want to look it up. But your body's basically getting rid of the sludge cells, those cells that are just hanging out. There's bad cells in your body that just hang out. And those are the ones you don't want to keep around because those are known to support bad things, in the aging process, like disease. Okay. So if you have clean cells that are doing what they're supposed to do and you don't have these bad ones hanging out, waiting for something bad to happen, then, that's how we slow down the aging process. Okay. But by day 2 and 3, I was getting hungry, and I'm still coaching. So, and it's hard for me not to just work out, it's recommended you can still do some light exercise. So I kind of brought that on myself. However, you teach, if you coach, you just get into it and you don't feel anything. You got all this adrenaline pumping into you. So, but I was hungry the next day, by day 4, I was like, oh my goodness. So that was the 2nd time I felt like I was going to break. And, probably 2 times that day, because I mentioned I wanted to break 3 times. So by the 3rd time where I was like, Erica, can you do this? And you talk a lot through this process to yourself and you learn a lot about yourself. And that's why I say you become reborn because you're like, you get to know what you can do and how you get through things in a short amount of time. Remember, this is 5 days. If you think about it, this isn't a 30-day program, 5 days, And so I came up with a strategy. I'm like, Erica, what can you do to just stop thinking about food? Even though you're getting food, I missed my morning ritual of like coffee and, like an egg type of breakfast. And, it comes down to a breakfast bar. And the bar is great, but I've done this 4 times already. So I was kind of like, can we get another bar? Can we get another bar Prolon? Maybe like, I don't know, a berry flavored one or something. But no, that'll probably turn on the food sensing pathways. Okay. So I came up with some ideas that I want to share with you, because if you ever decide to do this, there are a lot of tips that I have in the back of my pocket after doing this. And, I really missed chewing. You have a lot of soups. There are some crackers every other day. You get olives, right? But, I really did miss biting into like something, if you know what I mean. And so some of the tips I'm going to share with you really helped me. All right. And number 1, it's to really keep busy. But how do you keep busy, right? And if you work from home, it can be challenging, right? Because the fridge is just a few steps away. So I encourage you, do this if you can be in a place where you're not close to a fridge, okay? Or to a drive-through. So, number 1, music is super helpful to distract you, okay? So I would just put on some music. I blast it. I do just like a dance, and music is therapy for a lot of reasons. And 2, get ready for this. I drink a lot of hot beverages, okay? You do get herbal teas, and I don't think that's an accident that these packs, right? These 5-day packs come with herbal teas. Because you know what? Hot herbal teas, they're like healing potions. And I'm going to let you know what I mean by that here, because I had to look this up, because I knew it was doing something to not just distract me, but like really comfort me. And, I'm in Florida, so it's super hot, even though I'm in the air conditioning, right? It doesn't hit the same as if it's like a fall day and you're, maybe having tea or hot cocoa. But nonetheless, hot herbal teas, the science behind that is that it helps soothe your nervous system by activating your vagus nerve, okay? That translates into, it tells your body you're safe, okay? So there's something about that. It's almost like when you meditate and you take some breaths in, you hold it, and then you exhale. It's the same thing. So warm teas, or even just drinking hot water, was something that I went to a lot for distracting my hunger, okay? Because at some point, you are not hungry anymore, all right? At least for me, and most people can attest to this who have taken it. You are in high ketosis by day 4 that, like, honestly, I'm going to let you know, by day 4 in the morning, I didn't even eat my breakfast bar. To be honest, I got sick of it. I only had half of it, and I was like satisfied. It was the craziest thing. I was like, wow, what a difference from days 2 and 3 and then day 4. That hunger really does subside, because, right, what happens with ketosis is, if you don't know, your body starts switching to your fat for fuel. So it'll start burning the fat for fuel, which makes sense why those benefits in your belly, right? I was talking about some of those stubborn areas, that you can't get rid of. It helps with that because you are in full ketogenesis, okay? The other thing I did was, ladies, gentlemen, you can get your nails done too. I had to get out of the house. I think it was Thursday. All right. I was like, all right, we are on day 4. At some point you're just like, I'm not a quitter. If you're not a quitter, you can do this. All right. And if you feel like maybe you've quit sometimes in your life, well, this is something you can prove to yourself. Okay. These tips will help you. Go get your nails done. I also got my toes done because I was like, well, while we're here, let's just do it. And it was the most amazing thing, when you're getting a pedicure, you get the pedicure for not the nails, right? You get it for the massage, that chair that you sit in. And I just went into this great place, closing my eyes, having that nice massage with that chair, getting my nails done, just feeling like I was getting just maximum, support to get through this. I had one more day. Day 4, I was like, but day 5 is just as crazy because you're just like, oh my God, we're at day 5. And you don't want to stop after day 5. Like some people make the mistake and they think day 5 can stop at like 5 p.m. No, because you are going through that ketogenesis still. And what happens is there's so many other things going on in your body that you just want to get the full benefits. Don't shortcut yourself. You have to go through that full 5th day so that when you wake up, you are getting everything that you're supposed to get from this program. Okay. The other thing is just change your scenery. Change your scenery if you need help to get through the challenge. And so I did that. My dogs went on so many walks. I would go, it's hot here now in June in Florida, but, I was like, let's go. I was just always getting outside, even in the evenings because it was so nice out. But that's strategy there, right? You need to have a game plan. Go outside, get your nails done, drink warm liquids, and give yourself a little dance party. I also want to hit on real quick. I touched on this a little bit in the beginning, but the energy and the hormones that are really reset during this fast. Okay. So as I mentioned before, I'm feeling those shifts in my body. So the one thing that the scale doesn't measure is your hormones, your energy, and your vitality. So again, this isn't all about the weight that you lose. It's a lot of the stuff that's happening inside that you can't even see. And, if you're experiencing some of this kind of stuff, just know that your hormones might be playing musical chairs right now, and you have a way to help really kind of slow down what's happening because I'm experiencing it, So I finished the fast Friday morning and I'm continuing to feel really energized. And, time will only tell, probably by next quarter, I'll have to do this again. But I don't know, maybe this shift is going to stay here for a while where I feel like, this change is going to stay here. So few things on the fasting. It helps balance our insulin sensitivity. So that means your body stops storing so much belly fat and starts burning that fuel. It even increases your HGH, which is your human growth hormone, and that supports lean muscle. All right. We talk about muscle a lot here and how that is one of the best solutions to slow down the aging process. It also helps your skin, ladies and gentlemen, and also it resets your cortisol level. You also get to sleep better. So if you're someone that has trouble sleeping, this definitely helps with that. It really gives you back your normal circadian rhythm. So that's your body's natural way of telling you when to go to sleep and when to wake up. I haven't been waking up with an alarm the last few days because number one, I go to sleep. I'm trying to be consistent with my sleep and getting to bed early, between 10:15 and, getting about 7.5 hours of sleep at least. But this helps with if you have sleeping problems. So, I'm not saying this fast fixes everything, but it does fix a lot of things from the energy, from, not having fake caffeine energy. That's something I haven't experienced in a while. When's the last time you had energy that was real, that your body actually has on its own, right? That is a big enough win for me, right? Is, again, the energy. Before I let you go, I want to let you know that, you don't have to do this alone. Sometimes it's easier just to do things with someone than to do alone. And when you're in a group or you have someone by your side, it's definitely a huge difference. And that's why I'm personally inviting you to my next free fasting group. All right. Yep. It's free. We're going to be doing this in the next 3 months. So you have enough time to consider this. We will have a link at the bottom of the notes here. And it's definitely a great time. We've done this before. We do this together. We check in daily. We have a group text message. We will laugh. We will vent because there's a lot of venting going on. And I forgot to let you know that one of the biggest challenges I had, I forgot to have this in my notes here. My daughter calls me after I got my nails done, and she was actually hormonal. If you know what I mean? She's 15, so she's starting to understand some of the shifts that happen in her body, but she's like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, okay, there's food at home. She was in this mood where she wanted like something like junk, junk food, something fried. And we've all been there, right? Like, she's like, can you go get me, macaroni cheese, chicken tenders, like something that would just make anybody like probably break if you're on that. Even though I don't eat a lot of fried food, but when you are on this fast, you are heightened with your senses, especially smell. I can't tell you how many times I would walk outside and people would be grilling, and I don't even eat anything that moves or oinks, but I was like Homer Simpson, just drooling, I'm like, I can't wait till this fast is done. And I would say that, I'm like, I can't wait till this fast is done. And anyway, so that was a point that I almost broke down, but I didn't. So just know that you get challenged along the way, whether you like it or not. Even if you're by yourself or if you got family and you're cooking make it a whole thing where you let everybody know that, please don't cook in the house. So you don't have to do this alone. What I learned on this fourth time is that, your breakthrough really lives right past your breakdown. Right? I'm going to say that again. Your breakthrough lives right past your breakdown. So you find yourself when you push through some of those times where you feel like you're going to just quit. And you don't have to do it by yourself. We are here for you. And just remember that once you do this, you will come out clearer, stronger, lighter, inside and out. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out the show notes for all our links. We'll talk to you soon. Bye. And now for a joke. Knock, knock. Who's there? Lettuce. Let us in. We brought some kale. That's it for today. Talk to you soon. Bye.